This is the easiest way to turn your boring footage into pro territory using only native Resolve tools. From Rec 709 to this. My name is Felipe Guerra from Guerra Colors, and I'm a professional colorist with over 10 years of experience creating commercials, music videos, and films. So I'm guessing a lot of you are already familiar with the Kodak 2383 LUT included in DaVinci Resolve, and it's a great tool to develop looks, but you need to know the proper workflow before using it. All of these are shots from different projects. Here I have a short film, this is a car commercial, and these are random shots from different projects. This is ARRI sample footage. All of this is graded using the same Kodak 2383 LUT, and it works for everything, but there's a lot of key things that you need to know first before starting to use it. A bunch of tutorials show you one image and how to build a color space transform and then apply the LUT. And that is great, but you don't need to do it for every image. The best way to manage your time and consistency when you build a look is to create groups to organize your footage. You can organize them by scene, by camera, or however you want to. And once you build a group, you apply the same look to everything and then balance the footage inside the group. Let me show you what I mean. Let's turn off everything. First thing you need to do is identify which shots are going to be on which group. So in this case, it's pretty clear. We have the short film, that's going to be one group. And to create that group, we just need to select the footage, all of the shots, then right-click, add into new group. Then you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to cancel it because I already did it. Mine lives in group short film. So this is the group. Once you create the group, you're going to see here that instead of having only clip and timeline, if you click, you're going to get a group pre-clip, clip, group post-clip, and timeline, which you can also navigate here on these dots. Pre-clip, clip, post, and timeline. And it's in this order because it actually is. Whatever you do on pre-clip happens before clip. Whatever you do on clip happens after pre, before post, and so on. And this is important because there's proper stages to operations. So the first thing we need to do is transform this log image into our display color space, which is Rec 709. But there's two key things. Our Kodak LUT expects Cineon instead of Rec 709. And we also don't want to work neither in Rec 709 or Cineon. So our first step should be to create a color space transform. Then select our camera color space. In this case, it's Sunny. Then the gamma. And then we want to select on which color space we're going to work. And most of the time, we want to work on DaVinci White Gamut, which is a larger color space and it's very consistent. Then we're going to select our tone mapping and saturation compression. And now we transform our Sunny color space into DaVinci White Gamut. We did this on the pre-clip, so everything we do in clip level is happening in DaVinci White Gamut. And then to come back, we go to post-clip, where we create another color space transform from DaVinci White Gamut to Rec 709 and Cineon film log, which is the color space that our Kodak LUT expects. So now I already set it up. We're going to turn it on. And now we can apply our Kodak LUT. And see what happens. It's affecting all of the shots. And what we can do now is come back to clip and start balancing the images. Here I did some minor adjustments in exposure and then we did some balancing. Now we go back to the other shots and do the same. This is a small vignette. And now that our shots are balanced, we see that everything is being affected. And now whatever I do here is going to affect the whole of the group. So I did exactly the same steps for every group. This is our DaVinci wide gamut color space from the camera. Then in post clip, we go back to Cineon, and then we apply the LUT. We did some balancing, group level this time, and also some balancing, clip level. Same is happening here. This is one group, and these are completely different images from different projects, but the process is the same, so it affects everything. And this is my base look. I can start developing from there. Also, one thing you always want to watch out for is clipped highlights. What you can do to create more roll-off is we can go back to pre-clip and create a highlight roll-off using the qualifier. We turn off the hue saturation channel, and we only leave turned on the luminance channel. So let me turn the node on and show you what it's selecting. So now I only have the highlights. And what we can do with this mask is simply lower down the highlights, and we can retrieve that information. And this is happening in all of the clips. So one of the key aspects from the Kodak 2383 LUT is two things. It's changing how it reacts to color and the contrast curve or tone curve. In this case, I'm using my own plugin to demonstrate the split toning, which is based on the same LUT. And what it does, which you can clearly see here, is it turns our shadows into cooler territory and our highlights warmer. As you can see here, if I turn it off, and then I built a custom curve here that kind of represents what the Kodak LUT does, which is create a softer toe and a softer shoulder. And if I show you what it does, it compresses all of these regions. So it makes the transition from the widest point to the next softer. And the opposite is true as well. So from the darkest region to the next, it's a softer transition with lifted blacks. These are the two main components from the Kodak look and almost every film look. So after developing our initial film look that affects everything, and now we have everything balanced and looking okay in the group, one of the main faults of this Kodak look is that the images that come out still feel a bit washed out. So we need to add more color or saturation, but not normal saturation, which brightens every color linearly. Instead, we want a richer saturation. And to create that, we're going to learn this easy technique. We can create a node, right-click it, then select the color space to HSV, which means hue, saturation, and value. And then we go to the channels and turn off channel 1, which would be hue. Then turn off channel 3, which would be value. So the only thing turned on is saturation. And then to make the adjustments, we can go into lift, gamma, and gain to increase saturation. The key thing to understand here is that lift would increase the least saturated parts of the image. Gamma would be the mediumly saturated, and gain would be the most saturated ones. So if we increase gain, the areas that are more saturated will increase in saturation. So it's not increasing saturation uniformly. Here is a quick explanation I did. This is the channels. Channel 1 would be hue, channel 2 would be saturation, and channel 3 would be value. You can pause the video to study. And here is the key difference between the normal saturation and filmic saturation or density. The main difference is that normal saturation is linear and brightens every color. And the difference with HSV is that we increase saturation without increasing brightness. And if we work with the hue versus luma curve, we can adjust which colors have lower or more brightness to shape our palette to our liking. So let me show you how to do that. Now that we learned how to create this feature saturation, we can come here to our hue versus luma curve to make a specific part darker. And now our reds feel a lot deeper. And again, I'm doing this post clip so it affects the whole of the group. Here you can see the same. I did the same HSV node to increase saturation using my gamma and gain to create a denser saturation instead of this. Let me show you the difference. That would be normal saturation, and that would be our denser saturation. So that would be the pro workflow using only native Resolve tools. It's also the most consistent way to achieve a film look for the whole of the project. Not just one shot, but every shot and then balance in between. Step 2 would be film emulation, which also includes texture, but this we're gonna leave for a different video. If you wanna have more control on how to create your looks, you can check out my own plugins, Malgor Color System, where I built the Engine Pro and Engine Lite, where you have extremely refined control on the tone of the image, the color, the hues, split toning, saturation, density, and look. We can start with the preset and control the intensity, and then build our whole look inside the engine for the whole of the group. So please like and subscribe if you want to watch more of these videos. Thank you for watching.